Now I got to restart here. Hold
Now you
on.
got to start over.
Now it's recording. All right. So don't get too excited. All right. So appropriate AF is a hashtag and a website that you have and something that you seem to put in everything. What the heck does appropriate AF mean? And well, you don't need to say the last word of that it stands for.
I mean, it could be anything. It could be appropriate. Amy's funny or whatever. No, it's a good reminder on those days whenever I feel like I don't have anything to create content about, that everything's appropriate. So everything is content. And because years ago I had some guy on LinkedIn, it was like, oh, it's not very appropriate for LinkedIn. It's like, actually, as a matter of fact, it is, because it falls in line with what I do for a living. So what's appropriate for me may not be appropriate for you, but it doesn't make it inappropriate.
That's a good point. And you're one of those people, as I look at your content, where you share a lot of content that is like personal-ish, I'll say, and more just like fun and clever and whatever. And like, I've got this, hey, I've got to always be providing value, always be providing value, always be providing. And I have trouble posting stuff that's like not, I'll be like, is there any real value for the watcher here? But that's the stuff that gets a ton of engagement. So what are your thoughts on that when you look at content creation?
Yeah. So I have anxiety about everything. So I try not to let myself get too hung up on value, because I will overthink it and be like, oh no, it's not good enough. It's not, polished. I can't do this. So that's kind of why I run with appropriate AF too, of, not everyone's going to like it, but someone out there like me is going to be having an off day and it'll work. But I think there's both sides. You do have to provide value, but it's also not terrible to let people see that, the unrefined side of you. So.
All right. So I invited you on because I want to talk about TikTok, which sounds like a strange thing for a 42-year-old male to be saying, is that I want to talk about TikTok. But I think I've been very surprised when I've started to look at the data, and that I would not be the only 42-year-old on TikTok, it turns out. So I want to get to that. But before we do, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, you obviously have built quite an online personal brand for yourself, and you've got quite a career. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what makes you tick.
Yeah. So my background, for the first half of my adult life, worked in a pharmacy. Loved it. It was all rigid and routine. I was in a clean room by myself, which is just a big empty box. So perfect setting for somebody that's an introvert with some anxiety. Then decided for the second half of my life, why not just completely shake things up and go off course? And so I took a leap of faith into marketing with no connections. I didn't have a background for it. And my degree is in chemistry. So really wasn't set up for success at all. Busted my ass though, like really worked at it and did really well for myself. So now I am the VP of marketing for the Atticus Group. And then in addition to that, I help small and mid-sized businesses with just setting up their marketing so that they know what kind of content they need to be doing and things like that. So
awesome.
Completely different than where I was this time 15 years ago.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, and that's a great story too, just in that ability to pivot and move into a new field. I think too often folks get hung up on, past performance does not indicate future results, right? Like, we can make a career change and you're still very young, but like a lot of folks start to get hung up in that. Well, I've been doing this for the last 5 years, last 10 years. It's too late to make a change. Like, it's not too late to make a change. And it doesn't take that long to learn skills if you're willing to put in the time and energy and really invest yourself. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about payroll companies. So, we were talking about what a fun little unique niche audience we have here, people in the payroll software and services industry and HR software and services industry. And we've had several of our marketing clients ask us recently, hey, should we start a TikTok channel? And so I was looking far and wide for a TikTok expert, and I follow you on LinkedIn, and I've seen a lot of your content. And then I toggled over to your TikTok channel, and I was like, all right, she's got this thing figured out, at least for now. And so, we'll get into some of that algorithm stuff here in a minute. But should a payroll company, a B2B services and or B2B software SaaS company, be on TikTok? And if so, why? And if not, why?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, they should be, because it's TikTok is amazing because it shows the other side, the human side of a business, which is awesome because you can look and like Shopify, it's just a web platform service. They have an amazing TikTok account. And you go, what on earth could you possibly be showing us? And they debunk things. They go through, and they're really good about going through. I'm just using them as an example. They go through and will find things where people are complaining or saying, this isn't working. And so that gives them an opportunity to go, here, you're doing it all wrong. Let's show you how to fix it. Yes, absolutely. A payroll company should be on there because you have to think about it. Most people right now are either employees or employers. So they are being affected by payroll somehow. So your audience is there. There's no reason not to be speaking to them.
Yeah, and I pulled some data. So this is from last year, and it's really interesting to me. And it was kind of what sent me on this road of wanting to talk to you. There's got to be much more up to date data at this point. But January of last year, 62 million downloads for TikTok. Age 30 and over represents about 40% of that audience. So age 30 and over. So that to me was very surprising. And then, we actually had a guy stop by our office one time. We have a couple of clients where we'll do, they still have their old school, and they'll have the random guy stop by our office and be like, I need my paycheck. And we got a couple of them still around. And this dude shows up and he was asking me how to download our app on his phone. And he hands me his phone. He's like, I don't know how to do it. And so I'm literally downloading our timekeeping application for this guy on his phone. But I look and he's got TikTok on there. So the same guy who can't download an app independently has TikTok on his phone and still needs a paper check and, is working in the 1800s like a dinosaur. Still has TikTok on his phone though. So I was a little bit surprised by that, but it was just one of these little things that kind of led me to there. But you mentioned Shopify. What are some other brands you like to follow on TikTok that you think are doing this well? In particularly anybody in the B2B space, if there's anyone that's doing it really well there.
There are. Calendly does really well. Zoom, which is surprising because, everyone I feel like has been exposed to Zoom in the last few years. They do really well on TikTok for the same reasons of here, let's take things that could be negatives for our brand and use it as learning moments, teachable moment. So I really love those. A lot of the car dealerships are there. Who else do I follow that's a brand? I feel like most of my timeline is brands because they're doing so well. And now I feel like now with the upcoming influencers, a lot of the beauty brands, L'Oreal, the dry shampoo that I use every day, they're on. So it's pretty neat just seeing things like that. I feel like I follow more brands than people right now because they're doing such a great job at creating really interesting content.
Yeah, and I want to come back to that brands versus people thing. That's something I personally struggle with, and I feel like we've got a lot of folks listening that are, we're a small business, so there's this overlap between my personal brand and the company brand, and in some ways you want to decouple those, right? Like you can't grow a scalable business if it's on the back of my personal brand, but at the same time, there's a lot of influence, and we close a lot of deals where people are like, oh yeah, we saw those LinkedIn posts, and they consistently are getting those brand touch points. And so, I guess rather than come back to it, let's just touch on it. Like, where do we find that separation? And if you're advising a small business client to say, hey, look, you should have a TikTok for Matt Vady and you should have a TikTok for Guru, or do you just say, hey, look, you should invest your time in one or the other? Like, what's your guidance when it comes to getting started?
Obviously, I'm a big advocate for personal branding. From a small business point of view, I do think it's important on TikTok, because TikTok takes so much energy anyway. You have to really have consistent content there. So if you're doing that, don't burn yourself out by trying to do for yourself and your business. I would say go all in on the business side, because that way you're not going to risk having something blow up on your personal and go, oh, dang it, I wish I'd shared that on my business page so it got the exposure. So I always say go all in on your business side, but make sure that you do nod to your business on your personal page. Like on mine, you can find some things that say the Atticus Group, some things that kind of reference back to my freelance things, but never are you going to see on on my personal stuff, hey, here's all the banners for what I do. This is me. This is I get to kind of come out and do my own thing, but then go back to business. So that's what I would recommend for a small business. And so you don't risk burning out, because that TikTok makes it easy to do that if you're not careful.
Yeah. What's the frequency like there? So one of the things, so I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, done a lot of training on, kind of how to engage an audience, create an audience, all that fun stuff. And, daily posting is kind of the baseline information you're going to get on. One of the things you kind of have to do is to post, once a day or 5 times a week or whatever, somewhere in between. But what's the frequency like on TikTok? I mean, are people posting daily? Are they posting weekly? Are they posting every 2-3 days? Like what are the brands that are really growing on there doing?
The recommendations that you'll see so many times, and the people that are successful, you'll see are posting 4 times a day at least, which is overwhelming. And so it's always interesting, because the clients that I've worked with will come in and say, we need to start TikTok because everyone's on TikTok. And this brand, it shut down their facility because they sold so much. You go, they've got a person dedicated to that. And it's these people they're still on the fence about, do I really need to post on LinkedIn once a quarter? You go, we have on that consistency, 4 times a day is what people are saying. I've tried 4 times a day. I've tried 1 time a day. I've tried once a week. It seems to me that consistency is really all that matters. So if you're a person that goes 4 times a day, is terrifying to me, and I would rather set myself on fire than be on that platform, then don't do it. Just post 4 times a week or 4 times a month, but just make sure that you're consistent in that schedule. So, which is the same for LinkedIn and other platforms. Of you're better off to do the minimum, but do it regularly, than to go all in and be excited and then go, that was too much, and now I'm overwhelmed and I'm going to leave for 3 months. So
that's right. And that's the thing, is like, the audience doesn't come overnight, y'all. They don't come in a week. You post 4 times a day for a week and you go, geez, I don't have 5,000 subscribers already. What is going on here? It's like, if you diet and exercise for a week and go, man, I didn't lose all 30 pounds already. Like that's not the way it works. Right. So you got to have some patience there. And so, but yeah, because to me, you say 4 times a day, never going to happen unless we've got a dedicated teammate there to put the stuff on. Now, let me ask you that. So what's the repurposing like across? So we're big advocates for repurposing, right? So like, if I make a video, this as an example, right? The video of you and I is going to go on LinkedIn. It's going to go on YouTube. It's going to go, probably, and then it's going to get linked to a blog somewhere. And then it's going to get linked off of a post. And it's going to be, we're going to dice it up into multiple clips and put it on multiple platforms. Are you repurposing a lot of content for TikTok, or are you making content just native for TikTok?
No, I repurpose a lot of stuff for TikTok, and that's something too that I would always recommend. If you are even considering doing anything on TikTok, always make sure you're repurposing stuff, because you can use that on Reels. You can use it on LinkedIn. You can get 4 or 5 pieces of content across platforms just in what you're using for TikTok. Because right now Reels are also getting just as much organic reach as TikToks are. So if you can do for one, you can do for the other. So
nice. And so what type of content are you suggesting that brands create for TikTok? Like, is it the how-to stuff? Is it the behind the scenes stuff? Is it the, you mentioned earlier, like what is it? Who is it? Marcus Sheridan, They Ask You Answer, I believe is the book.
Yes.
I think I have it and haven't read it. To me, it's like, yes, like we already buy off on this. Like I got the book and then I started reading it and I was like, yeah, we believe in this. Like client calls and asks me a question. Like the easiest thing for me to do is then turn around and answer that question publicly, because that's, easy content for me to create, and obviously valuable because somebody that is paying me money is asking the question. So obviously people who aren't paying me money would probably have similar questions. What's your typical strategy if advising somebody on how to get started, what their content strategy should be on a platform like this?
Yes, that's number one, is go and do a Google search of yourself and see what people are saying about you. Are they, it's the first thing that comes up is how do I do this? Answer that. And sometimes it is that's a really long answer. Good. Break it up into a series. Every day we're going to answer one component of this question. How do we get started? Well, you do this first. Then next, here's a video. So break that down as much as you can. Also look at what competitors are doing. Sometimes you'll see, not to copy. Some people will go, okay, I'm going to do exactly what they're doing. No, don't do that. look at what they're doing that's performing really well and see if that works for you. And then do your own take of that. Also, I worked on TikTok for a craftables, which is just all they do is vinyl sheets for Cricut crafters. Like you cannot get
Vinyl sheets for what?
Down. Cricut, the Cricut.
Like the game Cricut?
No, it's a vinyl cutter. So we're thinking like very narrowed down. Like you have to have this particular product to deal with them all. But then they were also trying to, wholesale for these small businesses that we can get this product. So they were, it started with, let's do some how-to videos. Here's how we use this. Here's a behind the scenes of how we're making this product for you. What we had things go viral though it was just, here's a video of someone making something with this product. It's not teaching you how to do it. We're not getting in depth. It's just someone's making something using this product. And it was just like inspiration for your next craft. Through the roof. Like things went viral, things are selling out. It was great. So things like that, where you go, maybe just show people enjoying working with your brand. I mean, It doesn't have to be so complicated. Just if you were, think of who your ideal client is and then walk them through the steps of what you would want them to do. So
that's a great point. So the ideal client, right? So how do you help your small business owner clients to identify who that ideal client is, but most importantly, stay on topic with like addressing content that's, because to your point earlier, like if it's my personal account, I might be talking about baseball 1 minute. I might be talking about stand-up paddleboarding the next. I might be talking about, deer corn, 5 minutes. Like there's just any number. Yes, we've got deer in our backyard. It's my new obsession is feeding deer in my backyard. I'm not a hunter. I actually want them to just come so my children can watch them.
I don't want to hunt them. I just want to feed you and pet you.
I just want to give you as much deer corn as it takes until y'all start to trust us and become a part of our family. Yeah, we're weirdos. But so but so how do you keep that focus as a business of like, and also understanding, look, you can make a TikTok for one group and then make a TikTok for, for us, for example, we serve a lot of nonprofits. We also serve a lot of tech companies. We also serve a lot of like what's going to appeal to the nonprofits, not going to appeal to the tech company and vice versa. How do you coach your business owner clients up on understanding how specific content should be or do you?
I do. I always recommend they pick a specific day for a specific kind of content. That way it's not overwhelming. You're not trying to do it 5 days a week. For example, a client that they deal with, here we're going to do wholesale stuff, but also we provide this product for this particular, employee retention and such. Good. On Mondays, you're going to do content about employee retention. On Tuesdays, you're going to do stuff about wholesale. Because there's a lot that falls into each of those buckets. And so if the mood strikes and you think we've got a ton of content, I can talk and ramble about this for hours, do it, record all of it, and then break it down. 1 day a week, you're going to show this part of it and share it across different platforms so that it's not overwhelming. You do stay on task because, Mondays are my day for this. Don't think about anything else. It's just this. If someone comes in and you think this is going to be a great story for Wednesday, great, write it down. But focus on it on Wednesday. Don't get overwhelmed on Monday. And so that's kind of how I got them. And it works really well because it keeps them on task and it makes it so that each day of the week, it's like a trigger of, oh, it's Monday, so we're doing this. It's Thursday. This is what today is. Keeps them going.
Yeah. So, well, and it's funny because as you're talking, I'm pulling up mine. So I do a terrible job of following this, but when I was putting together my little content plan, I have, Monday motivation or analytical post, Tuesday, a clip from the podcast, maybe some notes, Wednesday, going to touch on an HR topic, Thursday, small business growth topic, Friday, something geared towards the payroll and audience. And like, do I always follow that? No. But if I don't have something that was like, all right, today, this is top of mind and something, then I can just go there and go, oh, cool. I got a handful of things related to that topic that are easy to pull off the shelf and post about. And I don't have to spend, I don't spend 2 hours a day on this stuff. I spend, 20 minutes and that's it. So how do you plan your content? How do you think of ideas, track ideas? What tools and fun stuff do you use to keep up with? You obviously are posting a lot on multiple platforms. And if you're not, I'll post how to follow you and all that fun stuff in the notes. But yeah, so share a little bit about your content strategy for you personally.
So I am very much, which this is terrible, but as much as I coach other people and do this is going to make your life easier, I am still very much a fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. So I have my plan and my buckets, but I'm real bad about it. I'll just go in one day a month and be like, here, let's just make everything. And then, like you said, I'll just pull it from the shelf. I tend to make things and then just save them into my drafts folder so that I don't even have to think about, oh, I need to go to this folder and pull it. It's just already in my drafts waiting for one of those days when I have no idea what I want to do. And I'll save it on like my TikTok drafts. I'll save it on my Reels drafts. And then I'll just I have a folder of LinkedIn ideas where I just got the start of something.
Well, that's awesome. I wish LinkedIn had drafts. That's such a pain that you like. I'm always copying and pasting everything when I'm 75% of the way through because I'm so worried that if I started building it out natively in there, I started making edits inside of their tool that I'm going to lose it because I've had it freeze up on me so many times. Such a pain in the neck. Do you use any? So you go once a month, you're creating batching content. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's smart. And so batching is just such an underutilized framework in life in general, right? Like there's a huge cost of changing. Going back to that point earlier, if it takes me 20, 30 minutes every morning to write a post, if I wrote the whole month, it'd probably take me 3 hours. That's less time. You don't need to do the math. I don't do public math, but that is. No one should. But I know enough that 3 hours is less than 20 to 30 minutes a day over the course of a month. I know that much, Amy.
Right.
So yeah, it's a great call there. And what are some other tips and tricks for you personally when you're creating content that make it a little bit easier to get things out in the volume that you do?
I really love Canva. Like I will advocate for Canva until I'm blue in the face, but you can go in there and you can save things, and they do already have a content scheduler. So if you're somebody that likes to not only have the content done, but already have it plugged in and sitting on go, just waiting for the day, you can do that on Canva, and you can do it through most platforms. I mean, you've got Pinterest, TikTok, LinkedIn, everything. But it's also great because if you have one piece of content and you're thinking this would work across every platform, you can easily just resize it so that all of your graphics, your videos, everything are perfectly formatted for every platform. So that is, I feel like, the easy switch for any content creator at any level. Please get Canva, the free version.
Oh, at very least, yeah. And I would say you should probably pay for it. Canva is like one of the best. So spent. Yeah, I mean, Canva is just, honestly, there's a reason they've got a multi-billion-dollar market cap. I mean, they just came in and did the very obvious thing that needed to be done in this space that is so easy to use inside their platform. I'm actually going to be curious to see what sort of competitors continue to spin up. I see Adobe's trying to come out with a lightweight version of their product to compete more with Canva. And it's just like they came in and just took the world by storm with that platform. Yeah. And continuing to, I'm excited also to see what they start doing on video side, because the video right now is not great, but it's helpful. But yeah, I think that there's a ton of runway there as well. Let's continue to pull on that thread. I was going to come there later. Like, what are some of the other tools you use, platforms, systems, Canvas, schedulers, anything else that you love?
Canva is my favorite for video content. So if you're starting on TikTok, it can be very overwhelming whenever you go there and you see these 19-year-olds that are doing these really in-depth videos, and you're going, I can't do that. Like I barely have a login. What am I supposed to do here? InShot works really well. And so it can kind of guide you through, oh, you want to do a transition, whatever. You can easily do it. It's very user-friendly. So I use InShot and CapCut for both of those. You can have them on your phone, so you don't have to feel like you're a designer of any sort. It makes it easy. What else do I use?
What was the second one? CapCut?
CapCut.
Okay.
Yeah.
InShot and
so
CapCut.
You can add in any images or stickers, things like that, which makes you look like you know more about what you're doing on TikTok. if you don't.
Well, that is the thing that you're 100% right. That's the first thing that jumps out at me every time I go on there. I'm like, these are some damn polished videos for like, every one of them. I'm like, I don't really want to get into all this editing. Honestly, we tend to, I'm going to take a clip of this, and the level of editing we're going to do is literally taking the clip and uploading it to a Canva template, which puts your name and my name at the bottom and like says a topic at the top. Like that's my version of editing, right? So there's a lot better editing tools out there, but we also, we're a lot like you in that, man, we're cranking out a lot of content. We aren't going to, we've kind of got a, hey, we ship mindset. Like we aren't a Fortune 100 brand. We are a community that ships product nonstop. And that's our mindset over here. So, cap cut in shot like that. Never heard of either one of those. That's wonderful. What else you got in your toolkit? And not necessarily just TikTok. Oh yeah. Captions. What are you doing there?
I love it. For anything where you're doing video, even if it's just on LinkedIn, everything gets better results if you have captions, so that people don't have to necessarily let the world know they're listening to a video on any platform. So captions works really well. You just drop your video in there. It takes 2 minutes. And even with my accent, it can turn it out pretty good.
Yeah, we didn't get that in the episode. You're in Arkansas. So believe it or not, there are people in Arkansas, y'all. I got one on the phone right now. It's crazy. I know you didn't believe it.
I try not to let too many people know that. So closer to Memphis. Let's go with Tennessee. But even with all the y'alls and things like that, it can knock those captions out really fast. Pixel Cut is my other one. And that's pretty much the arsenal that I've used nonstop lately is Canva, CapCut, captions, and then Pixel Cut, because you can remove backgrounds, and it makes graphics really easy. If ever you come up with content, you need a graphic.
The captions are in CapCut?
No, Captions is just its own app. It's just called Captions.
And you just do it. That's an app on your phone? I sound like I was 1,000 years old. And that's like an application you get on your telephone? Is that on the interwebs? Do you download that from the interwebs? Yes, that sounds amazing. Well, and I'll go back to y'all for just a second. Fun fact. So I grew up in upstate New York, moved to Raleigh, North Carolina back in 2003. And I was tending bar when I first moved there, fresh out of school. And some women came in and sat down at the bar, and I said, "What can I get you guys?" In New York, you call everybody guys. Doesn't matter who men, women, indifferent. They're all guys, right? And so they said, "You don't call women guys in the South. Like you say you dress us some other way." And so I immediately from that, I'd probably been in the South and North Carolina. Debatable whether or not that's in the South, but from then on, I've been a y'all guy ever since. And so it was like my first excuse to use y'all, and I have used y'all, just abuse y'all. So if there's a lot of people listening to this podcast probably over the years that have gone like, yo, this dude has like a Northern accent and says y'all all the time, and it's really driving me crazy. That's your backstory. So there you go.
Yeah, it's the safest thing to say. Hey, y'all.
It is. Yep.
Whoever y'all are.
What can I get for y'all today? That's
I thought around like we say Coke. Like you could actually want orange juice to drink. And I'm going to say, do you want a Coke? So.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So have you noticed any differences, or is there any sort of wisdom and guidance? A lot of people on LinkedIn, my good friend, James Hornick, I'll shout out James here. I know he doesn't listen to this though, because it wouldn't make any sense because he doesn't own a payroll company, but he always likes to comment on every time somebody posts about posting on LinkedIn. He writes, "This was another exciting post about posting." And, but there, and I love it. He's the best troll online and it's so much fun, but there is a lot of posting about the algorithm, about when to post, about how frequently to post. And some of it may be true. Some of it may just be what's worked for others, but are there any other sort of commonalities that are coming out on TikTok of like, hey, time of day, frequency, type of content, like any truths, or even LinkedIn that you're finding with yourself that are, either anecdotally true for you, or you're starting to see progress with following?
No, like I said, I've tried just about everything on TikTok, and it appears that just consistency is key, which is the same on LinkedIn. But it's so funny because you'll have those creators that their entire platform is just, I'm going to tell you about updates in the algorithm. Here's what to do with the algorithm.
Yeah.
And it's like this. It's like we're talking about Oz of no one really knows. I'm just sort of making it up as I go. But just looking at TikTok in particular, you go, it's just a lawless land. It's just be authentically you and be consistent, and you can find success. Because we've got 19-year-olds that are dancing and getting 5 million views. We've got B2B companies that are, reading negative comments about themselves, getting 10 million views. You go, there's no right way to do it. So just consistency is always key. That's my rules to the algorithm every time.
All right. So old man yelling at cloud, Matt Vady, will not join TikTok because he knows that it's a conspiracy by the Chinese government to spy on all Americans. How do you overcome old man yelling at cloud, Matt Vady's objection to said issue with TikTok?
You just have to explain to them, you've got a phone. It's already tracking you. TikTok's not after you. Your phone is. You've got a smart system in your house. Those people are the best because they're like, I don't believe in TikTok. Alexa, turn my lights off. I'm like, wait, hang on a second. So no, TikTok's not trying to get your information or your, what your face looks like any more so than the what kind of toast would you be quizzes that they're taking on Facebook. So no need to be afraid of TikTok.
I there's bots that'll ask questions that are then go viral that are like common questions of what people might make their passwords, and then can like reverse engineer your password based on like you publicly giving them an answer of like, hey, what's your favorite, to your point, what's your favorite toast? And like, oh yeah, that's a common, security question.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, and it's something I struggle with because it's like, it is a slippery slope to your point where it's like, yeah, we all just give up access to our data and, it is what it is. And I'll be dead in 50 years. And who the hell cares who had access to my data anyway, because I'm gone. Or, the opposite is like, yeah, we're going to look back in 10 years and go, damn, we just gave up all that information and now X happened. So hard to say where that'll land, but, I'm not in the soothsayer business. So no telling.
I feel like there's much scarier things than who's going to get my data. Like you're going to see what student loan debt I had a few years ago. That's, if you want to say that, by all means, but I think there's scarier things out there. So.
All right. So you've got a pretty substantial, well, first, before we talk about your audience and growing an audience, and they all kind of feed together. So you've got one video as I was scrolling your TikTok that has like 123,000 views that is just you listening to a song, which, once again, old man Matt doesn't know the song, and just kind of bobbing your head with a caption on the screen. What's the song, first of all, because I did not recognize the song.
I don't actually know the name of that song. It's so catchy. It's some guy they were talking to that was in an interview that is very robotic. And I guess he says this one. He's like, oh, I used to rap. And then he just kind of like walks through this rap song. It's really awkward. And so that was, fell in love with it immediately. So I was like, this is the most awkward thing I've ever heard. And yeah, I didn't even really plan on that one. That's one of those where you go, it makes no sense here because there's nothing happening on that video. But it did. It got like overnight 100,000 views, which was insane. I think I have like 2,000 new followers because of that. And I'm literally just listening to a song. So you go, huh. There you go.
That's the kind of baffling stuff. Well, and this is a lot of like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take kind of a thing where it's like, keep throwing it against the wall and maybe something pops off and you just don't know. But to your point, we've been talking a lot internally about, copy work, and copy work is this concept of like, look, I'm going to look at what Amy does and I'm going to mimic it more towards my industry and change some of the formatting and change some of the, things to make it a little bit my own. But like, that's how I get good at it. It's like how we do everything, right? When you train a new hire at your company, like, you don't reinvent the playbook every time that they come in. They come in and they read the manuals. They put their own spin on it. They do all the training. They do it all, So copy work's no different when it comes to creating content, but it can be a little bit overwhelming. Like when you see that and you go, your page looks a lot like a lot of our stuff. I kind of laugh laugh. I was joking with our team internally the other day. I was like, we got to get my face off so much stuff. Like you pull up the YouTube thumbnails and it's just like 400 different pictures of me. And I look at your TikTok channel and it's just you staring into the camera over and over again on everything. And I think it just, and I'm like, I know you got that same feeling I have when you pull that open. You're like, God bless. Like, but I mean, granted,
I'm so sorry, everybody. Right. But that a lot of small business owners struggle with too, of I don't want it to be my face because I want to be able to scale this past just me. So how do I do that? And you go, you can. There's ways to do it. But if you're just getting started, that's how I feel like that's the best way to grow, is let people see who you are. They want to see your face so they know who they're following. And then past that, like once you're at you have a foothold on it, then weave in other things. Then you're doing your behind the scenes where there's no faces, but show your face.
Yeah. And I'll give a good example of how that scales too. So there's a company, not to reference James twice in one conversation. I don't know if you know James from HireWell, but HireWell, he's one of the partners, and his basically full-time role, as far as I can tell, is content creation. And they're about a 75 to 100 person recruiting firm. And then what they've done though is they've empowered and engaged a lot of their teammates to also create content, and sometimes in force, in mass, where they all know, hey, we've got these 5 job openings. Everybody next week is going to post on this day with this type of post. Not okay, hey, everybody copy and paste this post and we all post it at the same time like big crappy corporations do. This is more like hey, we're going to make it fun. Everybody's going to put their own spin on it. We're going to create a whole bunch of personalities inside of our company, because this is our marketing strategy, is that we're all content creators and we're creating a ton of value here in the marketplace. But check them out, HireWell, if you're listening. They're a really good company to see how that scales beyond the founders and how that scales beyond, a personal brand and more into a company that's empowered a whole bunch of personal brands. So always love them as a good case study for that.
That's always really fun to watch too, is seeing those founders that do empower their people, because you can tell the ones that are like, okay, here's the spotlight, it's all me, versus the ones that are going, okay, we're all going, it's a challenge. How can we do it different? I love watching those. So.
Well, the challenge I always have is this, right? It's like you mention it's people and you're like trying to encourage, but you don't want to force anybody to like post online about the company, It's like, or even like, hey, you're going to update your LinkedIn profile to talk more about us. Like, no, you can't, you got a delicate line to walk there, but it's like at the same time, if people show interest, give them the tools, give them the, the resources to grow. So let's see here. So we'll end on this. So you've grown, you got more than 15,000 followers on LinkedIn, more than 8,000 followers on TikTok. I mean, well, A, how? And, B, what tips would you share with people that are looking to grow a community and an engaged audience like you have?
To actually want to engage an audience. I feel like that's the key. So many people go, okay, I need to get 10,000 followers so I can do X, Y, and Z. And so it becomes just a numbers game, and it feels like you're in a numbers game when you talk to those people and you go, oh, I don't feel like there's a connection here at all.
Yeah.
And so one of my good friends, Ariel Lee, she chimes in all the time about, if you're going to connect, then connect and get to know people. And she's hilarious because she has like 40,000 followers on her LinkedIn, and she can tell you every single thing about every single one of them. It's bizarre. Anytime we're talking about like, oh, so-and-so's hiring for this, she's like, oh, this person over here would be great because I just talked to him the other day. And so I think it's all about just building a community, and which helps you anyway, because you don't want to, it should never be a numbers game, because those numbers are never going to convert. They're never going to support your business or buy from you or tell people about you. But the people that actually care, that you've taken time to hear, I picked you, I know you, we've talked. They're going to support your business. They're going to, talk about you in rooms where you aren't standing, things like that. And so keeping that in the back of your mind, I think, is what has helped me grow. So.
Well, it's interesting as you're describing that. And fun fact, I'm connected to Ariel. I've never spoken to her, but one day recently I saw a post she made and I was like, she must be in South Carolina. And I just looked at her profile and she's like an hour and a half up the road in Spartanburg, South Carolina. So
if you say something, she'll be like, let's go to lunch tomorrow.
Let's do it.
Because I have to know you.
So the way that I think about that as you're describing like community versus having followers is like, imagine you're at an event and you're standing on stage and you're speaking at people. Like that's what the person who wants 10,000 followers wants, right? Like they want to be up on stage with people listening because they're an expert, quote unquote. Like a community is me down with everybody else and we're all together. And like, while I might be creating some content over here, there's somebody over there creating too. And it's not about me being the center of attention and me getting all the shine, right? Like, and you nailed it right there. And that's something where early on in my LinkedIn kind of experience, if you will, I realized I'm like, man, I get more engagement, followers, contacts from commenting on other people's posts and engaging with other people's stuff than I do from my own posts. And I think that's kind of like, barometer number one of like, are you actually there to serve and help and be a part of a community bigger than yourself? Or are you there to just throw things into the echo chamber and looking for people to just say, you're right, Matt. Oh, we love you. We love you. You're so smart. So, which is, stupid. So,
yeah, right. No, absolutely.
So. All right. So listen, this has been something, I'm just going to say that I appreciate you being a part of it. We're all going to go start TikTok channels today. I'm going to do some, maybe me dancing, maybe me, I don't know, maybe something.
I fully support that. Go on renegade dance.
I'm going to do the gritty. Is that a thing? That's a thing I think I hear my kids talking about a lot.
There. My fun fact on that, I don't know what the gritty is. I heard it the other day too. My optometrist, who is my dad's age, his son is on TikTok and was like, you can do this dance. If you can do anything, you can do this one dance. So he did. Blew up. He's got like 1 million followers. And so that's what, now he goes by like Grandpa Gritty. I'm like, I can't call you that. You're always going to be Dr. So-and-so. I'm never calling you that. It's like, I'm smart. Who knew?
Oh, man. No, but it's great. I love these platforms with video. And it just does, to your point, it gives the opportunity to kind of take the mask off a little bit, give a little bit more of your true personality, your true self to your clients, your the folks that you're around, your community members, those people that you've never really engaged with on a deeper level can see that you're just a dummy who likes to do the gritty if somebody dares you to, and that's totally fine.
Exactly.
What other parting shots, pieces of guidance would you love to share with the audience today before we head on out?
Oh my gosh, I feel like this is where I have to add value. Just remember that you determine the rate of your consistency. That's it. Don't be overwhelmed by any social media platform. You are in charge. So if you want to post one day a month, then by golly, make that the best day of the month, every month.
Come with that heat. Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that too of like, quit you with your damn excuses, man. Like, I'm busy, Amy's busy, everybody's busy, y'all. Like, get over yourself. Like, if you really want to, get the wins, right? Like, which is something we probably should have got into at the beginning of this of why do you even want to get active on social? Like, what have you got out of it? I know for us, it's just, I'm one of the rare folks in our industry that just gets consistent inbound communication through the website, through LinkedIn, through a lot of different places with people that want to do business with us because we put ourselves out there and we're creating demand. And it's different than, us trying to force ourselves on everybody out there. And this is something we've been working on for years. So it doesn't happen overnight. And so I'll just say that like your excuses around every business owner is busy, like get over yourself. And if you want to commit to creating good inbound channels, you've got to be on social. It's just really, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, homie, I appreciate you. It was nice to meet you in person. And appreciate your time, and we'll share this with everybody. And if you have any comments, concerns, please just email Amy directly. I'm no longer taking any questions. I appreciate you.
Wow.
I appreciate your time, Amy.
Thank you.